We have several stories we're following for you this morning, including after years of waiting for any kind of an announcement about a new Disney theme park. And don't we want to see more in this world? I know I do. I know it's expensive, but I still love, just like when I was a kid, and you had the e-ticket rides. Anybody remember the e-ticket rides at Disneyland? Well, they have just finally announced a brand new theme park, and it's going to be one of our big stories this morning, which we will be talking about. Some of the other stories that we're going to talk about this morning have to do with a Valley home that was just destroyed in an early morning house fire. And let me tell you, this was one of those fires that happened early this morning, Sky Fox flying overhead, that really gave us a chance to see the great work that firefighters do. Look how close it was to homes on both sides. We're going to go to Avondale for that story, and we have several others that we're going to be following for you this morning, including the release of the Mugshot in one of the most high-profile cases here in the Valley. I'm Ron Hoon, and this is Fox 10 Talks. We are glad to have you with us this morning. This is a streaming show that you can watch on YouTube, you can watch on the Fox local app, and now you can watch on Channel 45, Fox 10 Extra. If you have the various cable systems, et cetera, we have a lot of ways for you to talk with us, and that's a big part. You see what's happening over there on the side? The way we do this show is to interact with you the whole time, especially when Syleste pops in. She is expert at the communication business, and as a matter of fact, the other day, Syleste, the boss, said, I kind of like it when you show when Syleste walks right in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there she is, everybody. 2 minutes in.
Did you just call me an expert?
At communication?
Yes.
We're in the communication biz, Syleste. So, as a matter of fact,
Thank you for that, Ron. Good morning, everyone.
It's so great to have you here. Let us know what people are talking about. We are going to roll right into this story here about the announcement from Disney that there is going to be a new theme park being created. This is the 7th. We all know the whole story. Back in 1955, Walt Disney was there. They rolled out what by far is their smallest park, Disneyland, over in Anaheim, and they have been growing ever since. But a lot of fans around the world have wondered, well, okay, you've got that. You've got California Adventure. It's very crowded at both of those parks over in Anaheim. And then Disney World has thousands and thousands of acres, and they have some parks that they have built there. The new Villain Land is something that, of course, gets an awful lot of talk. But today, the announcement came in of their 7th park. It's on the other side of the world, but this, to me, I think is going to be really interesting for people, Syleste, because they built it in one of the hottest cities in the world. And the talk around here for years, which is very typical and not very open-minded, is, Phoenix will never have a theme park because it's, too hot in the summertime. Well, this park is going to be built in Abu Dhabi.
Really?
And the interesting thing, just give me a guess what you think the temperature, a typical July average high is in Abu Dhabi.
I'm going to go 110.
You're right on at just about 107.
Okay.
And how about for August?
I'm going to go 115.
108. Now, we do always play Prices Right rules, so I'm sorry you went over. You're disqualified.
I lost both times.
But let's talk about it, because that's been the thinking forever. And Abu Dhabi is basically just like us, except it's more humid because it's on the water. Imagine our typical summer temps of 107, 108, etc., but even more humid. So Disney is going to partner with a company called Miral. And this is why, for years, there were leaders in the Middle East who were like, come on, Disney, build a park over here. It'll be a smash hit. And they really didn't step forward on it. In fact, I think at one time, when Bob Iger was running the company back in the year, it was around 2017 or 2018, he said that Mohammed bin Salman had MBS, as they call him, the Saudi crown prince, had pleaded with him to come bring a park. And so everybody thought, well, they're never going to go there because primarily, maybe because of the heat and possibly cultural issues as well. Well, now it turns out that they are going to do it. And the main reason is they have shown that you can have a hot location that can still be a year-round tourist destination. Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
They attract tens of millions of visitors. They opened the Louvre, Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
So it's like a junior version of the Louvre in Paris. It's been a smash hit. Warner Brothers put in kind of a small indoor theme park, which they're building one of those here in the Valley, not Warner Brothers, but Barbie Land, as we like to call it, from Mattel. And then SeaWorld came in, and it was a smash hit too. So the whole deal is that they basically made them an offer that was too hard to say no to, where this company is going to pay for it. And then they're going to turn around and tell Disney that we'll pay you to design the rides and the shops, and then you're going to get royalties forever. So it was a pretty sweet deal. But the bottom line, we finally have the world's first theme park coming to a very hot, just like us, summertime location.
Well, you know, they have a lot of money in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I never heard that before, Celeste. Talk about breaking news here.
So I wonder who's paying for it. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the ideas in the chat was Disneyland, Wyoming. Okay. But then you'd
Right.
have to have the state of Wyoming maybe chip in to help bring them there.
Well,
So
that's one thing. It's too cold. You know, the rides would freeze up,
They
right?
would.
At least here, the weather's beautiful. You know, it's too hot for some people's taste in the summer, but I mean, it would still work all winter long.
Yeah,
We have tons of visitors here. And I have long thought, after going to Disney World in Florida and then coming to Disneyland, that either Arizona or Texas should be the home of the next theme park that they build somewhere in the U.S.
I mean,
It's time.
Linda Montorth in the chat said Disney has gotten way too expensive. If our kids take our grands, we might go, but we won't just go as a senior couple. Because I asked, as a grown up, do you enjoy Disney? There's a lot of people who like Disney as grown ups.
Yes, right.
You know, or maybe they live in California and they have the local pass and they like to
Sure.
visit, you know, often. We have some viewers, people that hang out with us from California.
Yes, we do.
But it is pretty pricey.
Well, that's the thing, Celeste. I'm so glad you brought that up because there's this dad that went viral for his post of how pricey it has become at Disney. Let me see. Did he go to Disneyland? No, Disney World. Okay, so he went to their to one of them in Florida.
Yes.
And he spent $1,400 for one day.
That is wild. And it looks like from, I don't know if he bought the Fast Pass or not. I think it said no. Water and ice cream was $29.50, he says.
Yes.
Beer and pretzel, $19.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So he spent $5, or I mean $5. Nothing's $5. $974 for his 5 family members, and then he added it up from there. Now, when I took our grandkids, Renee and I took the grandkids out to Florida last year, and there was a guy wearing a T-shirt that he had custom made, and it simply said on the front, "Most expensive day ever."
Ever.
You know, and either dad or mom or grandma or grandpa is going to have to foot the bill.
And it's really pricey.
It is so
and,
pricey.
And those Fast Passes, it's just taking you from one line to the other.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You're still waiting in that fast lane.
Okay, so it's our poll question today. Ready? Here we go. The costs keep going up. Do you still go to the big theme parks? 40% say yes, but not as often. This is on our QR code poll. 0% say, same as I always have, even with the crazy prices. 40% are saying, no, the prices are too high, especially for a whole family. And then 20%, moving around.
Wow, look at these numbers moving.
Somebody just grabbed the QR code, ladies and gentlemen. And 16% say never have been, so I'm certainly not going to go now. Let's, Dino Fazzini is watching closely, and he's going to pop over now and show us how it looks on YouTube.
Okay.
That's, of course, where we get, we did just launch this here a little while ago, already over 100 votes. And take a look at the difference here with our YouTube audience. 7%. Yep, not as often, though. 4% same, even with the crazy prices. 60, this is sad. 63% are saying no, the prices are too high, especially for a whole family.
Maybe we need to head back to like a Knott's Berry Farm, like an old school. What about the Coasters place here, Ron? The
Yes.
up on the 17th.
Castle and Coasters?
Castles and Coasters.
You know what? Maybe that's the way to do it, is to convince Disney, come out here and build a park that has maybe not, what do they have there? If you add a California Adventure and the other
Yes.
one, you're looking at maybe 40 different rides. How about you come out here and you build 15 to 20 rides, something like that.
Yeah, like a mini,
so that the
like a
cost
mini.
could be less expensive, and you could prove that a family of 5 could actually go there for less than $1,400.
Right. Or maybe you're like Patricia Randolph in the chat that said theme parks are just too people-y for me.
Oh, well, okay.
She
That
thinks
would be-
too many people.
That would be the VR version. You just put on glasses and it's just you wandering around a ghost town.
That
at
actually
Disney.
would be a brilliant idea.
Actually, it would
You
be
know what I
kinda
mean?
cool,
Just like
right?
maybe it's just like an added something or other for maybe the grandma or grandpa who can't ride the rides.
Yes.
You know,
I like it.
You know, and then they're on the street.
Hey, Celeste,
little
we
goggles
want to just give a big salute to firefighters out in Avondale. Another one of our big stories this morning is the work that they were doing. When our cameras arrived there, this was in the 5 a.m. hour. I mean, the flames were still just ripping out of the roof line here. They got that ladder truck out there fast, and they were able to get this thing knocked down before it spread to any other homes. But when we launched Skyfox, and by the way, there's that ladder unit right there. When we launched Skyfox and you could actually start to see the damage from above, you could tell it was a total loss. And the thing about it is, right there, look at the work. One house right next door, Celeste, I'm going to say is less than 10 feet. I mean, that could be 5 feet from one house to the next.
Yeah.
And they saved it. They saved that home right next door.
It's really brilliant, the type of work that our crews do. I mean, that shows you that they probably got there very quickly. They got those ladder trucks up, got those hose pulled, and we're dousing those flames with lots of water. Because I think you had it just a moment ago, Ron, but there was flames when the crew showed up.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to take a break right now with our. Is this our mystery
Wow,
cam?
I know where
Hold
that is.
on,
I know
hold
where
on.
that is,
That cannot be the mystery cam. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, everybody, welcome back. Just take a look at we finally accessed the mystery cam. It was not State Farm Stadium, which, we like to have a lot of people win in this contest, but not quite to that extent. Let's see. Celeste, as you look at it, I'm trying to... Is it like a golf course? Or is it just some beautiful park, some little slice of heaven on earth?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks gorgeous, though, doesn't it? It's so green.
Yeah.
And you have some like hills, not really mountains, but hills in the distance.
Okay. I'm going to go maybe somewhere in the Ozarks.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
That would be either Arkansas or Missouri.
Okay.
Let's see. I know we just popped it up. I don't know if we're getting any other guesses. By the way, we want to say hi to Rocky Singleton, one of our new viewers joining in the chat today in Wyoming. Tell us what town in Wyoming you're in. I finally made it to Casper, Wyoming last year.
Ooh.
And I just thought, I like Casper. It's a nice town.
I've never been to Wyoming before. Is it cold? Was it cold?
Actually, it was very windy.
Windy day.
Yeah.
There's ski mountains there in Wyoming?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know we were going to do a full quiz. This is why we have Michael Dixon, who's the local man about town and an expert on everything. Michael, have you spent any time in Wyoming?
No, as a matter of fact, I have
not been there yet.
No, I haven't been to Wyoming.
Do you have a guess on the mystery camera?
Oh, look, we have an Ohio,
thoughts?
we have a Kentucky, any state.
Georgia. From Louis
Georgia.
Gonzalez.
Mike, what do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, I'm going to go Tennessee. I'm going to go with Jesse Posadas.
Okay, and I'm going to go with the Ozarks. I mean, unless Rocky, our buddy up in Wyoming, says it's Wyoming, if he jumps in real quick and says, oh, it's Wyoming, then I'll change my vote.
He might say this is my front yard and that's my house.
Oh, by the way, Lisa is saying Arkansas. Good. We're going to start doing the show starting next Monday from your backyard.
Please, if we can barbecue, that'd be a huge benefit.
All right, let's see where it is, everybody.
Okay,
the mystery cam.
Montevallo, Alabama.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's Alabama.
Okay,
Did we get any Alabamas? I don't think we did.
I don't know. Let's go back and look at it. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to go to 22.
Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri.
Yeah, the interesting thing about...
no Alabama. Thank you, Dave.
By the way, you know what? That was the Dave camera.
There he
Hello,
is.
Dave.
Hey,
we
Dave.
haven't
Good morning.
Your fan club demands it.
Big D.
Yeah, that's Dave, our executive producer. But the cool thing about Bama is they have, I think it's called the Robert Trent Jones Trail of golf courses that this world-famous golf course designer did through the state of Alabama.
Oh, I wonder if that's one of them. You thought it was a golf course.
Yes, maybe so. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are so glad to have Michael Dixon with us today.
Michael, good morning.
It's the radio voice that you have heard literally for decades here in the Valley.
How kind of you. Thank you.
And we also bring him on board to talk about the great movies
Yes, we do.
that are making their debuts. But today, a lot of people, I think, may not know, Michael, but are you an So
and a heart of gold.
By the way, Celeste has a master's just like you. She wants to get a doctorate just like you.
Good.
And I was extremely lucky to get through 4 years of basic college, just so we all know the various IQ levels that we're working at here. All right, let's go to some of the pictures that we have from the Vatican. It is such a special place. I don't happen to be Catholic, but
You're forgiven.
Yes.
If they can take that back to the...
Go back to that first picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. I
Because
think I can
up to
roll
the
that a
right.
second time.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens when I punch.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it'll cycle through the
I think if you come back,
There
there
it
it
is.
is.
Okay, hold it. Do you see over to the right
Yeah.
the highest building there?
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Is that
the
it?
Sistine Chapel.
That's the chapel.
That's where they are right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. What should we know about the voting that's underway, Michael? And what's your analysis of what direction the voting might actually
That's
go?
a really interesting question and a hard one to answer because we had Benedict XVI, who was very orthodox, very orthodox.
Yes.
He's a theologian.
Yeah.
Then we get Francis, who said at one point, the shepherd should smell like the sheep, which meant you have to go out of your churches. You've got to get out and be with the poor and all of that. And so there was an intellectual part and then there's an emotional part. Yeah. Now, what happens now? Well, it's interesting because Francis created most of the cardinals who are voting today. All right. And they have to have 2/3, which is 89 votes. And then that person is, elected. But the really interesting thing is what happens after that actual vote takes place.
Oh, yeah.
First thing they say is, do you accept it? You're elected, but do you say yes? Says yes. And then he says, what name will you be called? So, it was Francis, and then it was Benedict, and it was all, but they're names of saints, all right? And so he does that. Then he has to sign a document of acceptance from all of this. And at that moment, once he signs that and a notary notarizes it, he is Pope. He comes back. They dress him in the white cassocks, goes back into the Sistine Chapel where all of the cardinals walk up, pay homage to him, kisses his ring or thumb. And then from that point, he goes to the balcony, and that's when the smoke goes up and everybody gets excited. And he goes out on the balcony and gives them what they call the first blessing, which is Urbi et Orbi, to the city and to the world.
If you could take us even farther back, the conclave, the history of that, if I was doing a little reading, and maybe you can kind of help explain this, but what I understand is there was at one time where it took over 1,000 days, many years.
3 years.
To elect a pope.
Gregory the 10th.
And so was it after that the conclave was created, where they said, we're locking you in, you need to do this, no one's leaving until you come to a resolution?
Well, essentially, I can't remember the name, but it started to... Before then, it was getting together of a lot of people. At one point, they add the people, and they would cheer. And the guy who got the biggest
loudest cheers.
Yeah, so it has changed over the years. It's been done this way about 800 years. All right, so it all depends. The John the 23rd, John Paul II said, if you break the secret of the conclave, you're excommunicated.
Oh, from the church.
It's
wow. That's serious. Lots of people may have seen the movie Conclave.
Yes.
How real is that?
That's very real.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because the Vatican cooperated with it. And so, they have, everybody knows what it is, but they can't actually see it in motion. It is probably the best explanation of what happens when they elect a pope and what all of the debates between the cardinals go on, because they were, between the time that Francis died and they opened the conclave, the cardinals from all over the country, all over the world were coming in, and they all had their ideas about what it is that they want in a pope. So it's been going on for about 9 days before they actually went into the conclave.
But is it real politicking
Yes.
that's been going on?
Absolutely, because you have a conservative wing,
Yeah.
Benedict the 16th.
By the way, who do the conservatives want this time around?
No, I don't know,
Okay.
because you have you have several.
Would it be the cardinal from the Philippines?
No, actually, he's most like Francis.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, Louis Antonio Joachim Tagle from the Philippines. 67 years old, which puts him in a place where people, I think, want a younger pope so they can stay there for a while. The other one, though, from Italy, who's only 69 years old, Matteo Zuppi, Cardinal Zuppi from Italy.
What do we know about him?
I
Conservative,
don't know.
liberal,
No,
anything?
no. He's more he's more like Francis.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was one of the ones created by Francis. So it's interesting. Benedict was the Orthodox. Francis is from the heart.
Yeah.
And where will it go from here? Will the pendulum swing back?
Right.
And that's one of the things they have to decide.
Yes.
Because they all have specific things. And they'll go around, and they will say to themselves, all right, now we've had this, but I really don't want any more Francis stuff.
Yeah.
I want to get back to dogma and being a lot tougher.
And,
you know,
and
in
some
terms
of some of the chatter that I've heard, like some of the experts speaking online and some of the reading I've done, is that is more like the Italian way, like maybe the Italians are
Not
believing.
necessarily. You have to remember it was John the 23rd that started Vatican II, and that changed everything. He said, what it was the word he used, giuramento, open the windows of the church and embrace
The people.
the word.
Yeah.
Yes. So Vatican II was about the biggest shift that they had in 100 years.
Interesting to note, and we're running out of time, but I want to make sure we mention this too. We were chatting earlier, Ron and Michael. We were talking about there really hasn't been somebody from the United States
No.
that has ever been Pope, and right now there is a favorite in the race for
Yes.
the Pope.
That's an American?
Yeah, an
Really?
American Pope.
Who is
yeah.
he? Which one?
Robert Francis Prevost. I don't know where it comes from.
Right.
69 years old, though, you
But
say?
he's 69 years old. So
Okay.
he's kind of a dark horse.
Yeah.
But you never know. There's a saying, that you walk in a pope, you come out of a conclave like a cardinal.
Well, that's what happens in the movie Conclave.
Yeah.
You've got two or three, real contenders, not wanting to give too much away here, but you could tell there are some people who are maybe not as humble as you would think, and they're like,
Yeah.
I want to be the next pope.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, they may wear a lot of red. They may have a lot of things they are supposed to do. But the bottom line is, they're guys, They're
Right.
they're real people.
Yes,
and so
yeah,
they
right.
are
Sure.
likely to be,
Well, Marissa
One-
Mendoza said Ron Hoon for Pope.
Thank you.
So you could be the second U.S.
Okay.
We need to. I know you're not Catholic.
I got
but
to
we can-
check with Salt Lake City, being LDS. I don't know if that'll fly, but
and Michael can check with the Phoenix Diocese, see how fast we can move you to cardinalism.
that's right. Don't worry,
okay.
yeah.
We're like 30 seconds against a break, Michael.
By the way,
yes.
I was at Disneyland the second day after it opened in Anaheim.
Really?
wow.
1955.
What was that
1955.
like? What was that like?
It was very barren, actually. The trees were very small and there were no drinking fountains.
A lot has changed.
All right. Michael,
that
thanks
sometime.
for your time.
My
This
pleasure.
guy is an expert on everything. We
Thank you,
just
Michael.
appreciate you so much. We're back after this break.
Shots here of the area. The one you just saw moments ago, it was at Tempe Town Lake. And then this one right here is our tower cam situated high above South Mountain. We're going to take you up north of the valley to Sedona, Arizona, where, Ron, you've got spas and beautiful hiking trails galore.
Yeah.
If you want to go in for that hike and then grab a massage, here's a look back at the valley here from our camera in downtown Phoenix. Chase Field down at the bottom, and then you see Camelback Mountain off in the distance. But we've got storm activity in the high country.
See, you guys had this on a little earlier this morning on the TV side.
Yes.
On Fox 10, and now we're going on to Glendale. But boy, you can tell it's still another very inclement day up there in Flagstaff. Okay, let's talk, Celeste, about a couple of other stories.
Yes.
That sure have a lot of people talking. And this next one has to do with it's Real ID Day. Now, I don't especially get, this law was passed in the aftermath of 9/11.
Yes.
To give us a better grasp on who's trying to get into federal buildings and who's trying to get on board planes.
Right.
Now, I don't know why the people in Washington, D.C. think that they had to delay this for 20 years. We got it figured out. Okay. We knew we had to do it. We had like 20 years to get ready for it. So we've actually been out at the airport today.
Yes.
Danielle Miller was out there, and I don't think there were really very many problems at all.
No, I was listening to the radio earlier this morning on my way into work, and they said there may have been 10 people. I think it's because since 2016, according to ADOT, I think they've been issuing, with every new driver's license, they automatically come with like the gold star or black star since 2016.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 10 years, you know, that people have been receiving these new driver's license.
You know, and they did come out and say that we will have the situation at the airport be that if you have the old license, we're still going to let you get on a plane. You do have to go to a separate line. It's going to take longer. Don't try rushing into the airport at the very last minute, but you have to perform, I believe you have to provide at least 2 other forms of ID besides the driver's license.
She said they were going to ask you questions similar to that, like if you were, answering like a social security number and all these other items. So definitely ID information that only you would ever know.
And here's what people were saying at the airport today.
Coming up with all the, like, you had to have your birth certificate and proof of address, which most everything's online anymore, so proof of address is a little bit harder to find than it used to be.
It was harder for her because her birth certificate for the elderly, they're not real certificates apparently. So we'd apply for one through California, get it mailed, then finally get her actual ID.
My kids did tell me that live here that today was the day. They're like, do you have your real ID? I'm like, yeah, I have got my real ID.
Knew it was coming, so we got it months ago. So it was, not a big deal at all.
No, it's not a surprise. They told us a long time ago to make sure that we get it. So I have my ID.
So if you don't have one, please don't panic. Know that we will be working with you, but allow yourself extra time. We ask you a series of questions, much like a credit check. So they're all about you. We will then be able to verify your identity and then allow you access to the checkpoint and allow you to travel.
My favorite part of this whole story, Celeste, is that you are not required today when you walk into a Krispy Kreme donut shop, you are not required to show any identification.
That is true. And you get a free donut.
You get a free donut, no ID required.
No questions asked.
Correct.
And they never said you couldn't frequent a couple of different Krispy Kreme locations.
Celeste. Okay, we need to create a whole office pool. And start driving around all the Krispy Kremes. Anyway, way to go, Krispy Kreme. We love you guys, and they're having fun with it as well today. So no purchase necessary. Just show up, tell them, hey, I don't have my ID. I want my free donut. Okay, so a couple of more serious stories that we're following today, and we want to get your feedback. Sorry, I'm hearing just a little bit of it. When I'm up here, I hear an echo. So I'm working on bad posture.
Me too.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to drop my chair a teensy bit.
Oh, maybe that's
and see
okay.
If,
that's
and
a
see
good
if
way
that
to go,
works.
Celeste. Excellent. Okay. Anyway, let's get going on these other stories that are certainly creating a lot of talk, and one of them has to do with the first mugshot to come out of this case, out of Preston Lord's killing at a Halloween party out in the East Valley in that Queen Creek area. And this is the mugshot now for a young man named William Owen Hines. And he is now officially in Department of Correction custody. He was sentenced to 17 years in prison for his role in this group killing. There were several other people that were participating in the assault. And here's the thing. This is going to be with us this entire year or longer because 6 other suspects are still awaiting trial on murder charges. But the story it just generated so much talk and so much interest, and I think, frankly, so much anger here in the Valley that people have been following it. And one of the things I think we need to do in the media of a better job is just following up on stories. And so we already told you he was sentenced 17 years, and now, so he'll be a middle-aged man when he gets out of prison for what he did. But there's the actual mugshot.
It's heartbreaking for the family of Preston Lord, obviously, but heartbreaking for this guy's parents, too.
That's a really good point.
I mean, half his life is gone. He's going to start over once he is able to get out. There's
another story in the courts that we're following this morning, and this one I would love to get your input in the chat box today, because this is a case that's been so long running. It is the Cleophus Cooksey serial killer trial. Several murders he is alleged to have committed. We always pointed out, innocent until proven guilty. But he's accused on going on a murdering rampage over 3 weeks right around Thanksgiving and Christmas time in the year 2017, in which 8 different people were killed. Now, we found that there was great interest in the Lori Vallow case. This case has not yet attracted that level of attention, so I would love to hear, Celeste, from our regular viewers. Do they want to see more coverage of this? Because, we're out there at the courthouse and we have the feeds coming in and we're following it pretty closely. Is it something you do want to hear us following more intensely in the coming weeks as this case goes on? Or because it was so long ago, maybe is your interest level not as high as it otherwise would be? So let us know. I am going to play a clip for you from what happened in court yesterday. So Phoenix police officer Brian Osment was on the stand. I think you're going to be shocked at what you hear in the recording. So he was one of the first on the scene the day that
Ron, we're getting lots of yes.
Okay.
Yes, Pam Munoz, yes. Isabella Fredrickson, yes. Continue coverage. Michael, yes. Frankie D, yes. Asmarino 19, yeah.
Okay.
They want more coverage.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get on it, that's for sure, and continue to stay on it, both here on our streaming show, but also on Fox 10. So anyway, yesterday, this officer took the stand. He's there because Cooksey's mother and stepfather had been found murdered in their apartment. And then the prosecution played a recording of the exchange between the officer and the accused as the officer was simply trying to detain him. And you will hear that the officer is trying to calm him down, but at the same time, the suspect is actually threatening this officer as well. Here is that sound from yesterday in court.
It's coming up with all the
stand by. Hold on.
Birth
Here we go.
certificate
Nope.
and proof of address. What's
All right.
It's coming. It's coming.
I know I'm not going to arrest you. You don't have to detain me.
Calm down. Relax.
I'm the biggest man, the strongest man ever. I will cut your throat.
Shoot
Judge,
your head or nothing.
you don't have a
Get
gun.
back.
I control the gun.
Get back.
I control the gun. I control the gun. You don't control
Ground right now. Get on the ground.
You don't control that either. You don't
Get
control
on
I control that.
Taser deployed.
Wow, Ron.
Yeah, I think so.
My goodness.
And, you could hear
that situation.
I don't know if tasers are deployed as often today as they were when they were first distributed to members of law enforcement, but you could hear it right there on the tape. And he's reporting, okay, I just had to deploy the taser. But this, again, is a situation where these are dangerous moments that our officers face on an everyday basis. He's simply trying to bring a suspect into custody so they can begin the investigation. The trial is expected to last several more months, and yes, particularly in a serial killer case like this one, the death penalty is an option. All right. So, Syleste, we're going to keep following that. Thank you, everybody, for your input on that. So I think maybe we will do a little bit more coverage on it.
I think that's a great idea.
Let's talk about this new study that, if you just think anecdotally about how you see parents interacting with their kids, and maybe you raised your kids in a previous generation. I'm in my 60s. That was a long time. There were no cell phones to distract me back in those days. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I had a paper book, a paperback that I was reading. But there is a new study that is out, Syleste, that says parents' obsessive use of technology might be great for them. They can check their favorite feed on social media, but if your kids are right there, they need you and your full attention and to get off the phone.
Well, and I think that's actually a good point because you want to mirror what you want your children to do.
Right.
So if you're doing something, you can't expect your kids to do
anything different.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. Just wait till they grow up a little bit and don't pay any attention to you.
What's that saying they always said? Your parents always told you, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't work anymore.
So the study is just out this morning. It's out of Australia. They looked at data involving kids under the age of 5, and they say the excessive use of technology, who's to say what that is? I would say it's almost any time that you're with your kids and they need you.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and they need us a lot more than we think.
That's so true.
That's what I've learned anyways.
And so they found that if parents are on their phones too much, the kids develop lower attachment levels themselves to their parents, and it can leave some impressions on the children that basically kind of make them feel like you don't really care about them. It's subliminal,
yes,
but you are sending a message.
Yep.
Okay, finish your post.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but don't keep
it later.
Scrolling.
Yeah, don't do it at the dinner table. Don't do it when you're hanging around your kids.
Yeah, that's
something
for
like
sure.
that. Ron, I just want to give a quick shout out here this morning to Stephen Rocky Singleton, who is going to graduate from the University of Wyoming. A lot of people are saying congratulations in the chat box. He threw that in there because he's watching from Wyoming.
Okay, yeah, he's our favorite new commentator today. And Rocky, Stephen, tell us what is your hometown in Wyoming. I want to know about that,
and
too.
what you're studying.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, though, we're going to take another break, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes here. And we welcome you back. If you are discovering us for the first time, like our brand new viewer in Wyoming today, we encourage you to come back every day and participate in the chat.
And so we want to give a big shout out this morning to Brian White. He said, shout out to me. So, Brian, here's your shout out, buddy.
Yeah, for
here's
sure.
Your shout out. And S. Marino 19, he said cats in the cradle. We're talking about kids with the phones and the parents and the whole social media thing. And Ron's like, I've played that song a zillion times.
So I DJ'd back in the 70s, for those of you who don't know. And the whole theme of that tune is, let me pop up the Dave cam, by the way. We'll find out if Dave has ever heard this song. You ever heard the song Cats in the Cradle? Does that ring a bell? You remember that? Yeah? Good. All right. Well, anyway, there's Dave.
I think Dave's thinking of how he's going to dance.
Trying to keep his fan club.
The
anyway,
dancing Dave cam.
Oh, nice. Anyway, it was Harry Chapin who came out of that song. The theme of it is he never had time for his kids.
Yeah.
His son comes home from college. He says, "You're looking like a grown man. Let's sit and talk for a while." And he says, "Sorry, Dad, I really got to go. Can I have the car keys?"
Oh, yeah. Here's the line, Ron. He says, my son turned 10 just the other day. He said, "Thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw?" I said, "Not today. I got a lot to do." He said, "That's okay." So, the son's asking when he's younger, "Hey, Dad, come. Let's throw the ball around. Let's hang out."
The wisdom of Harry Chapin, that's for sure. Celeste, did you hear the whole situation with the raccoon, this lady's pet raccoon that ratted her out for her drug use?
Uh-oh. Okay.
Ready? Let's roll it. This could be the video of the day. Here's the raccoon. Here's the body cam. This is Springfield Township in Ohio. We're going to freeze it, but the raccoon just wants to make sure that the officer knows what his owner was up to. Can you see what he has right there?
Oh,
he's like, "Come on, I'm telling you, she had a pipe."
Oh, no.
Yes.
Well, was the raccoon okay? Because it looks like he has a pipe in his mouth.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's doing what he can to be a Crime Stopper. Anyway, he shows the lady who, of course, they pulled her over. She was there, and then they discover I'm not sure who goes driving out around town with their pet raccoon, but it's a meth pipe. And he wanted to make sure, apparently, that the officer saw it and was aware. She was pulled over for speeding and a suspended license. For an outstanding warrant and suspended license. But now she's going to face those drug charges thanks to this junior member of law enforcement, the raccoon who ratted her out.
So canines and raccoons are out there helping police around the country.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk a little bit about these billboards that have been popping up. And they have to do with greetings from Saguaro National Park, reduced visiting hours made possible by Doge. So, as you know, there's some real concern in Washington that we are, from what I'm reading, Celeste, we're spending so much money at the federal government level that our debt is growing literally by the second, and we're just sinking deeper and deeper into debt.
Right.
So there are cuts happening in virtually from the Department of Defense to the Interior Department, right?
Right.
And so these billboards have popped up that are as much about anti-Doge, meaning, some people could say it's just anti-Elon Musk, but it's people who are upset about cutbacks that are happening. So this one just arrived here in the Valley at Central and Thomas. It's one of 10 across our state, and it's a nationwide campaign from a group that calls themselves More Perfect Union, spotlighting the cuts made to national parks. Now, it's interesting because I did some research, and it indicated that 2 people had been laid off at Saguaro National Park.
Right.
But that they still have, so I believe that would be about maybe a 10% cut in their workforce. I think they had maybe around 18 or so employees. And so always sad to report when somebody gets laid off, that's for sure. But it looks like they were cut from 18 down to about 16. But apparently they say if you come to the park, you'll notice a lot less trash pickup.
Oh, because those people were helping.
Well, I guess, or maybe they haven't come up with a schedule. You still have 90% of the staff there. I'm not sure
Yes.
if maybe they could come up with a schedule where other people could pitch in and make sure the park still
Or maybe
is clear of trash.
Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or, different nonprofits can head out and help
Yes.
clean up the parks.
Sure, right?
I'll
They're
send
saying,
my kid. My kid will go. I'll send him.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there's
he
something
needs
about
some part-time work, right?
There's some community service hours that I
Yeah.
think all kids could
Right.
use. Yeah.
Well, I do think the cuts have got to be fair. I mean, we're seeing it almost looks like every department is experiencing it, some more than others. And we don't want to see our national parks go downhill, but it may be, we'll see how it goes in the coming months. It may be more of a shared work schedule, shared work responsibilities, just to make sure the trash gets picked
I
up.
totally agree.
Something along
Yes.
those lines.
Oh, Jared D. Sonora said community service.
Yeah, there
Yes,
you go.
thumbs up.
Okay. Let's talk just a little bit, Celeste, about the lawsuit that has some people kind of scratching their heads, and others are saying, yeah, I had a feeling about it.
Which
it has to
one?
do with the fast food world.
Okay.
We're talking about Burger King. They're being sued over their Whoppers, which is a delicious burger, right?
Is it char broiled?
No,
or
there's no L.
Char
It's
grill.
just char broiled or char grilled, right?
Yes, yeah, char
or
grilled.
charl.
Or charred.
So the thing about it is that it's just been allowed. USA had a report, USA Today, that a federal judge denied Burger King's motion. Talk about Big Burger. You're the little guy. You're going up against Big Burger.
Well, here's the thing. Everything's getting smaller.
Yes.
The idea of shrinkflation.
Yes.
That is everywhere.
Correct.
Like the toilet, if you look at your toilet paper,
Yeah.
the roll's a little bit smaller.
Right.
You look at things around, your loaf of bread, a little bit smaller.
Is the Whopper Jr. even smaller than it used to be?
I don't know. Can it get smaller?
I used to order that off the dollar menu, even though it was $1.50. I don't know where it
Right.
is now, but it was so small back then. Yeah, I haven't tried it lately, but so here's the lawsuit, and here's what it says. They say that Burger King's in-store and online ads have been misleading them about the size of the Whopper.
Yes.
And so some people thought, well, it's frivolous, whatever. It's a picture. You really think you're going to get a big burger like that?
Well, they used to be.
It's shrinkflation.
They used to be as big as my face.
That's
as
a
big
good
as,
point.
They used to be huge.
Yeah.
I remember grabbing them in college. They used to, going through the drive-through. Remember, it was like $1.99. It was really
Yeah,
inexpensive.
right.
They have gotten smaller.
Yeah.
Like everything else.
Well, so anyway, it looks like the lawsuit is moving forward, and they say, look, the photos were stylized to look more appealing, but they say a reasonable customer knows that the burgers that we produce now are smaller than they used to be.
So it's false advertising. That's what they're claiming in this lawsuit.
I guess so. But Burger King tried to get it thrown out of court. We'll see how it goes. I mean, nobody knows who's going to actually win the case.
It wasn't Paris Hilton, was it? Who was the gal on that Whopper commercial? She was eating it. Was it on the roof, on the hood of a car?
Oh, wasn't her
Do you remember
name?
that? That was like,
was it Paris Hilton?
Maybe. It was right. It was a Super Bowl commercial.
There was another, like a supermodel by
In a
the name
bikini.
of McKinney.
Bikinis and burgers.
Yes,
that could be
correct.
a new place, Ron.
Yeah.
Bikinis and burgers.
I don't know if we're looking for new sponsors here on the streaming show, but I would just suggest maybe we want to, go down that road again. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
Celeste.
Target has bikinis. Target.
Okay, we have on graphics 4 here. I'm going to call. Oh, go ahead, Celeste.
Ron,
Yeah.
okay, so somebody mentioned, I said, what's your favorite burger? I threw this in the chat.
Okay.
Frankie D said Fuddruckers. Did you ever go to Fuddruckers?
Oh,
Ron?
yes, they
Remember that
still have
place?
one out in Mesa.
Do they
out
really?
Out by Power Road.
I used to go to the one at Fiesta Mall.
Yeah.
And it was so good. You just top it with all your own toppings.
Yeah.
So great. Nice, Frankie D.
Okay, I don't have a graphics 4 button, Ronnie, so I'm just going to let you call it up if you have the shot of the boulder that hit this one guy's car. This is unbelievable. Okay, check this out. So shout out to one of our great producers, Trenton, who found this online. This guy is driving around Jerome on State Route 93, And this picture gets posted. International tourist driving around Arizona. What could go wrong? The boulder that crashed down on his car, and because he's international, Celeste, I'm betting this Mazda is a rented vehicle.
Probably. Hopefully they got the insurance.
Yeah. You definitely would want the windshield insurance there. You'd want the full hood. You probably want comprehensive. It's what we're talking about here. But yeah, this happened just outside Jerome. You know, the road gets a little kind of curvy through there, and it might have been as a result of some of our weather, but look at this guy's lucky he got out of the situation alive.
This is so crazy. We have some beautiful drives, gorgeous drives all across Arizona, and this is one of them through Jerome. This old mining town. Right. Some of the hotels are said to be haunted. Maybe you visited Jerome or you've been up that way. I know we have some of you watching from Williams and Sedona. Good morning to all of you. But this drive through Jerome is so pretty, but you never think that something like this is going to happen. Like, imagine that drive on 89A from Flagstaff down to Sedona, Oak Creek Canyon. Yeah. One of the most beautiful drives, but you have situations that could happen just like this. You have these big boulders.
Right.
On the side of the road.
Well, thank goodness the guy's okay. Ty joins us. Now, he would be the international traveler from America, not like some guy from Japan who came over to the U.S. and is shocked at what happened to his rent-a-car. But Ty travels to. Do you rent cars when you go to other countries, Ty? Have you ever had a situation?
Oh, okay. Well, how much time do we have? Because I got lots of situations.
30 seconds.
Like a crash? Like a crash?
Well, my dad rented a rental car in the UK, and you're driving the wrong side of the road.
Right.
There's another car coming real quick, and so he overcorrected, went the wrong way, hit some rocks, lost a couple tires. It was a whole ordeal.
Wow. Well, the good thing he flies planes, but he's much better at that than driving, I think.
Fewer things to run into up in the skies.
Dad, we love you, Dad. We love you, Dad.
You know, it actually happened to me last year. I was in the UK. And they have these little things that actually stick out in the little country roads to slow you down.
Oh.
But weeds had overgrown it.
So you didn't see it?
And I didn't see it. And I basically popped 2 tires. I had to get towed and everything.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, hey, you know what?
It happens. You live and you learn, Ron.
Live and learn is
Live and
Celeste's
learn.
advice.
That's our motto.
All right, Ty, what's coming up here now? So we've been on for an hour, but you can stick with us on YouTube starting at 11. What are you covering?
Yep. We've got a whole bunch coming up. We've got Josh Coddington here. He is from the Arizona Department of Tourism, talking about some of the best places to go. If maybe you're looking for some summer vacations, you got friends, family coming in. Danielle Miller is also going to join us at the top of the show. She was over at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport all morning long talking about the Real ID. So we'll see if anybody had any issues today or not. But it seems like everything was running pretty smoothly over there.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah,
We're rule-abiding citizens in Arizona.
All right, Ty
Thanks
and
for
Anita up
watching.
next.
Right, welcome on in. It is 11 o'clock, which means it... Danielle, up at attention. It is Fox 10 Talks with Anita and Ty. Welcome on in to our streaming show. And we brought Danielle in because, Danielle, today was the very first day of the Real ID. Anita and I have been talking about this. We had TSA on, what was it, last week, talking to her about kind of what they were anticipating. And at first, they really didn't know what to expect.
I think we all expected crazy lines.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of confusion.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I flew in. I traveled this last weekend, and I remember flying in. I was like, oh, my goodness, this is going to be insanity come Wednesday. But, yeah, we were there at 4:30 this morning, and we stayed till about 10 o'clock this morning, and absolutely zero issues. From all those hours.
You see, so basically, if you don't have that Real ID or global entry, there's a separate place you have to go.
There is. So basically, there's a separate entrance. There's TSA right here, so everybody goes there. But they had so many agents out in front of the gate.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Helpers.
Walk us through, because we kind of saw a little bit.
Yeah.
They did have like a different line set up today, right?
Yeah. So right when people would walk in, there was a lady standing there. I think she was an airport employee. Hey, does everybody have their Real ID? Okay, then she would direct you here. If you did not have it, she would direct you in this opposite, which you have to go through a very thorough screening at that point. I saw one person from 4:30 in the morning until 10. One person.
One.
Yeah.
Describe that person.
Yeah,
was it my mom?
Yeah, maybe. No, so I mean, for
my
the
husband.
for the
does
most
not
part,
have a Real ID yet.
everybody had either a Real ID, but we did speak with TSA officials, and they were telling us that the majority of people have passports.
Yeah.
So
they just brought those?
They brought those instead.
Yep. Yep, because you can use a passport.
Yes, or global entry.
Correct.
Military ID.
Yep, and then I believe
some tribal IDs.
Tribal
well.
IDs. Yep, you can use that. So, yeah, she was just saying, if people don't want to get it, you obviously have the option to get a passport, but you could still go through that line and continue to do so for the time being, but it's all about volume.
Yeah.
So if there's a lot of people doing that, who knows how long it's going to take you to get through.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you have your Real ID?
I don't.
You
actually.
don't?
Oh, wow.
No. I'm one of those. I have a passport, so I wasn't really worried about it. But a lot of people do.
But then you have extra to carry, like when
And
you're
I'm
flying
always scared to travel with my passport.
I don't want to lose my passport. So
Yeah.
domestic.
Are you guys judging me right now?
We
No,
are.
but Johnny, my husband doesn't have one either, but he has the global entry card. And then when we renewed our passports last year, I got passport cards.
Got it.
So that fits in the wallet super
That's
easy.
easier.
So you don't have to go through all of that. And I'll tell you what, in all honesty, I think I was like at the DMV years ago doing something else, and they're like, "Do you want it?" And I said, "Sure," but I kind of wish I hadn't done it, only because you have to renew that one.
Yeah.
Whereas the old driver's license, I wouldn't have had to do that with.
Yeah. A lot of people today said that they were only doing it. They did it years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because they were getting a new ID, or they were moving from California to Arizona. They had to get a new ID, so they were already there. But yeah, I don't have one. I will now, though.
You interviewed quite a few people out there this morning, too, and a lot of them, we were listening to the sound bites, they kind of were like, yeah, we knew this dedeadline was coming. Everybody was kind of prepared, right?
Well, there was that one deadline years ago.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, the deadline's been there's been multiple
pushback.
now.
So I think a lot of people have already gotten them, and then it gets pushed back and pushed back.
Because this all started back in 2005, so now this has been 20 years
Let
in the
me
making.
see if you can answer this. Sherry Nevada Pup is asking, why wouldn't someone not want to get it? I don't know if you came across anyone who...
Well, it's an extra cost.
Yeah.
People, I mean, they're like, I got my ID, I got
a little
my
bit of
whatever.
hassle
What's
at the MVD, and then it also expires.
Yep, and everybody that I did talk to said it is a little bit more tricky because you have to get, the 2 forms of identification, social security card, your birth certificate. So, and then one woman said her mother's elderly and it was really difficult to get it.
Hearing that, yeah.
Because something with her birth certificate. So I think maybe just the hassle is why people wouldn't want to. I don't know any other reason other than that.
But for the most part, I mean, and we were looking kind of nationally too at how things were going, and it looks like everybody was kind of ready for this.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting though, because was it yesterday or the day before we did a live report with one of the reporters that was in Chicago, and she was outside of the DMV in downtown Chicago. It was wrapped around the entire building.
The lines at the DMVs to get these ID, they're paying people to stand in line for them, are actually longer than the lines at the TSA.
Yeah.
So I think that it's either like panic mode, I've got to get it before I travel, but you can really go any time to get one.
Right. Correct.
So,
yeah. Maybe wait for the rush to be over.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. Patty, you talked with with Patty from TSA,
Yes.
Patricia.
Yep.
She mentioned when we talked to her last week, about 82% of Americans have their real ID, so that's not bad.
Not bad. Yeah, and a lot of people have passports now.
Yeah.
So, and I think especially here in Arizona, a lot of people travel to Mexico and
You already need all that upgrade. Yeah.
So I think maybe that helped. But yeah, and Patricia with TSA, she was kind of monitoring all the airports in the United States, and she said there's absolutely no issues. So
Well, that's fantastic because
Yeah,
I know
it's
they were
great.
kind of gearing up and preparing
they
for the
didn't know what
worst,
to
but
I was
either.
terrified.
things were.
I thought,
Were you really?
working
Well, I
pretty
just
good.
thought it was going to be, chaos and
Yeah.
You were so terrified that you
confusion
bought a
and-
$10 cup of coffee.
I did. Oh boy.
Those airport prices, they're
I
not
know
the best.
it was double.
Yeah,
double.
you have
But
to be prepared.
when you're desperate, you just send
Well, when you're
Starbucks
at
cards,
the airport
folks.
from 4:30
To 10 a.m.
You deserve it.
You need it.
Actually,
Yeah.
you probably got there earlier.
Yeah, we got there at like
yeah.
4, but yeah, a $10 coffee is.
Lisa is saying she's not going to get the real ID because she doesn't fly and her driver's license won't expire
Yeah.
until 2040.
So
So,
what's the
there's no
point?
need
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
So that's really a great point
However.
because Patricia with TSA, she was mentioning people that, they just don't travel, which is great and fine, but there's always, unfortunately, emergencies that pop up where people have a relative who passed away, they need to rush to a funeral or rush somewhere to do something. So all of these life things happen, and these people who do not travel typically have to travel. And she says the airport rules don't change.
Yep.
So unfortunately, your life event has happened, but the rules are still in
So
place.
let me ask you this. We know they have that separate section for people who don't have the real ID. Years ago, we went to Mexico. My sister-in-law forgot her driver's license and her passport. So she had to go in and they do this like little Q&A.
Yep.
They're going to continue doing that well past this expiration date for such emergencies.
Possibly.
Possibly.
So Patty
Okay.
said today, she's like, I don't know how long this is going to last. And I believe Christy Nome has even come out and said, hey, this is available right now. That's not saying it's going to be available forever for people to.
So what if, and this is, again, may not be in your realm, but what if you lose your license while you're on vacation?
Same thing. Patty says the questions that's happening right now is exactly the same thing as if you lose your ID, you lose your wallet. They're going to put you through that same amount of questions, which is like
And
a
we
credit
don't know,
check.
we don't know if that's going to stick around.
No, that will.
That will.
Because that's always been
okay,
there.
so that'll be like an
Yeah.
emergency. That's not going to be
Correct.
like,
Yeah.
I have to fly to Nashville right now for an emergency.
Yeah.
I don't have a real ID.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know how long
Yeah,
that's going to
wow.
last.
Okay.
But for right now, I think while the growing pains continue to
Interesting.
grow,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you
So
did a
we'll
great
see.
job out there. High
Thank
five.
you.
Yeah.
$10
Thanks for coming.
coffees all
I hope
around.
that you
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yes,
You
it
know what?
kept me going. For
Sometimes our boss
We're getting-
watches, so maybe he'll just Venmo you $10.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still getting a lot of questions though. Like I got mine. Sherry Nevada Pep says she got hers when she moved from Cali in 2020. No hassle at all. And she's 68. She says she'll renew in 5 years. Don't find it a problem. Passport not expired. Glad I have it. And then someone else is saying that they have to renew every 5 years. So yeah.
Okay.
But it's interesting. Though.
Well, happy traveling, folks.
Happy
are you going to go get
traveling.
one?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
go.
mind going to
Just
get
kidding.
one. So, but my passport is good for another. I just renewed my passport.
So you're good for a while.
I'm good
Yeah.
for like 10 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For passports.
Yep, I think so. Yeah.
So
Did you get global entry? I highly
Yes.
recommend global entry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the global entry.
I'm out of here, folks.
Ty taught me that. Peace out.
Danielle,
I'm heading to France. Bye.
thanks for coming in.
Ooh, we're going with you.
All right, so we're taking a live look outside, you guys. We are so lucky that we get to live and call Arizona home. And our next guest is going to help us kind of explore our own backyard.
That is because it's National Tourism Day, and we thought, how many times are you actually a tourist in your own state or your own city?
And that's where our new friend, well, I guess not our new friend, our old friend,
Our old
Josh
friend, but our new
Coddington.
guest.
Right, yes.
New
Yeah.
guest. Did you like that? The magic of putting up a picture.
Yeah,
Here
went from
you go.
Danielle to you.
Yeah, that was very good. Very good production.
Thank you.
work,
Thank
right?
you.
Yeah, for sure.
That was
Josh-
all Ty's idea.
Give us your title and what you do, because I think your job is so fascinating.
It definitely is. My title is Director of Communications at the Arizona Office of Tourism. And I really have one of the best jobs in the whole state. I'm super lucky because I get to promote travel to Arizona. And that's what our office does primarily. And so that is travel, that's encouraging Arizonans to travel within the state.
Mm-hmm.
That's also encouraging people across the country to travel to Arizona and even international visitors to come to Arizona.
I imagine your job is not very difficult.
I was going to say the same thing.
Despite the heat,
Uh-huh.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
That's probably the only negative. We have so much beauty and so much diversity in our state. I don't know that there are many others where I can say the same. I mean, even California, you might find a cactus or two in California, but it's, I mean, wow.
I mean, you're totally correct. And the great thing about being in tourism in Arizona is it's like I was handed a Ferrari that's already awesome. And all I have to do is keep it beautiful, keep it going, share some new features about it, and people love it. But there's also another side to it, which is we have beautiful pictures, beautiful stories about the places and the people in Arizona that we share externally. But our competitor states, such as Utah or Nevada or Colorado, they're also doing the same thing all the time. They're sharing their beautiful places. And so really, tourism is competitive in the sense that we need to be in that conversation, and we need to be in front of people, especially those people who are traveling or who are looking to travel.
Sure. Sherry Nevada Pup is chiming in, excuse me, and she says she's a tourist here in AZ because she's only been here 6 years in July. Sherry, we're glad that you moved here. But it does take, there are so many places where I haven't been able to travel
I keep
yet.
adding like to my Arizona bucket list every time we do a story or we show pictures because we do like the photo of the day. There are some fascinating places that I have never been that I'm always like, okay, I got to add that to the list. Josh, let me ask you this: since you're kind of entrenched in all of this, where do you see kind of, I guess, geographically, where do the majority of visitors to Arizona come from? Is there like one area in the United States or maybe even the world that folks are coming to Arizona to or from?
So absolutely. So the most
I think
interesting,
this is always fascinating.
The most interesting part of this is that the number one visitors to parts of Arizona are Arizonans.
Really?
Visiting because we have such a concentration of the population in Maricopa County, people in Maricopa County go and visit rural parts of the state. And that's something that we try to drive a lot because those rural communities absolutely rely on tourism, right? They rely on visitors coming, staying the night, seeing their attractions, going to restaurants. And so that's number one.
When you say rural, what do you mean?
I mean, basically, almost any place that's outside of Maricopa County.
Okay.
So it's literally all around the state. Like you could call Flagstaff rural.
Okay.
Tucson, sort of rural, sort of urban.
And
but then we get further out to small towns.
And it doesn't necessarily mean this is an overnight trip. This can be a day trip.
It can be a day trip. Obviously, it would be great if you stayed overnight in any place you visit. But Arizona is great for day trips, and just the geography of being in the center or the general center of the state makes it so you can go in any direction and find somewhere cool.
That is so true. We've got about 20 seconds left, but we're going to take a quick break, about 2 minutes, and we'll come back. And you've compiled kind of a cool list of maybe some places that folks might want to try out if they're looking for something to do this summer. We've got something kind of for everybody's budget as well. Family.
Go.
You need to push the buttons.
Welcome back. I'm sorry. I was like, what time are we back from break?
Tomorrow I'm pushing the buttons.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
All right, welcome back. All right, if you're just joining us, Josh Coddington is here from the Arizona Department of Tourism.
Arizona Office of Tourism.
Is there a difference?
There is no difference. There is no Arizona Department of Tourism.
Okay.
You're everything.
Yeah, it's either
you're the office and the department.
It's either office, or some people call us Visit Arizona.
Okay.
Those are both the exact same thing.
How'd you get into this?
I actually got into tourism through economic development. So I worked at the Arizona Commerce Authority for a while as a communications director there. And so I learned about economic development there writ large, about all the great things we're doing here in Arizona to bring businesses in to help them succeed. And during that time, I also learned about the tourism aspect of economic development and how tourism has people go to so many different places and has them spend money throughout the economy. So I kind of learned it that way. And then, of course, once you kind of learn about tourism and how fun it is and how you get to learn about Arizona, and that's honestly something I didn't expect about tourism, is what you're expected to be an expert on in tourism.
Sure, right.
And because it's not just places.
It's things.
It's things.
Are you from Arizona?
I'm not actually.
So this really is kind of a learning
Right.
Neat.
I mean, I have perpetual curiosity, like I'm sure you guys do as journalists, and so I got to learn about Arizona. And it lends itself so well to this job, because when you work at the tourism office, people also want you to be an expert on geography, on weather, hiking, safety, even safe ways to go out and visit places, which is something that we also do as well. I mean, and even highways. How to get to places.
Yeah.
So it's really just you become an expert on Arizona.
Before we get into some of your kind of areas, I know you can't say a favorite because obviously you work for the department or the office rather. So I keep saying department. Yeah. So he can't give his favorite. But I wanted to ask you, and maybe I'll share my kind of like one of your favorite places to go here in Arizona.
There's so many.
I know.
That's a tough question.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't. Well, I know what my answer is, but I feel like I haven't hit all of them.
Right.
So, it's like when people say, what's your favorite story that you've ever covered? It's like, I don't have a favorite yet because I don't know if I've covered it yet.
For sure.
I have stories that I love. I love West Fork Trail in Sedona because you are hiking among the red rocks. Like literally there are points where you cross the creek.
Yep.
You cross the creek, I think it's like 12 times. And it can be challenging. I've hiked it winter and summer.
Yeah.
And it's neat because you can cross the log and fall in and be like, whoopsie daisy, or you'll be sliding across the creek because it's January and it's icy. But it's covered, and so there's not a lot of sun, so you're not really ever going to overheat. But it's the forest, it's the red rocks, and then when you get to the end, there's this amazing pool of water amongst the. I've
never done it.
You've never done, and it's not terribly. It's long, but it's not terribly difficult. I think that most levels of hikers, a lot of it's walking. There's a little bit, here and there of degrees of difficulty, but we always pack a lunch and then we eat out on one of you literally are sitting on these massive red rocks,
that's cool.
looking up, and there's nothing, and there never seems to be
a lot of people.
No, it's like you
now there will be. We're putting it out there.
That's one of my favorites. But I love the Hieroglyphic Trail, which is near Apache Junction.
Yeah.
We went in January after rain, and there are waterfalls and pools.
Oh, that's cool.
You've never done it?
Never done that one either.
Oh,
man.
man.
The list is getting long.
I know. I'm going to keep adding.
I'm going to tell you something. I could not believe what I was seeing. You have to hit it when there's water.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I think but wow.
Yeah, right. And the seasons, I mean, that's something you hit on very, very well, is that what time of the year you are outdoors can really change the experience and show you something
totally
that
different.
You wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's your favorite?
This is going to sound so cliche, but the Grand Canyon,
I know,
still to
it
this
is.
day,
That's all right, man.
It really does take your breath away, because we kind of take it for advantage because it's in our own backyard.
Yeah.
But every time I go up there, I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Have you
It's
hiked
so beautiful.
it?
No.
I really would love to.
I want to do the rim to rim one of these days.
I would like
too.
to do, well, I don't know if I want to do rim to rim. I'd like to go down and up the same day if I can, simply because I don't want to worry about getting a room, because then you have to take a bus, right? And stuff like that. But I would love to do that. Now, the thing that I've heard is difficult about that is planning for weather.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I have friends who hike it every single year, and they go every year in September or August. And one year it's freezing, and the next year it's way hot. So you can't always pinpoint that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so do you want to go over some of your not favorites,
right?
No,
but maybe some
places you've
some
experienced.
places that you've
Well,
experienced.
and I would say let me add on one thing to what you just said.
Sure.
Is one hidden gem that I always share in Arizona is Canyon de Chelly National Monument.
Where's that?
Where's that?
So that is northeastern Arizona. It's on the Navajo Nation, and I share it because it is a canyon, and it has a river in the bottom. It has greenery around it, and then it has these great canyon walls. And there's a great drive that you can do around the top, so you can stop, and there's like 10 lookout points, and it is a true canyon. And it is just another spectacular canyon that we have here in Arizona. Since it's on the Navajo Nation, I always recommend that you hire a guide if you're going to visit the Navajo Nation or
Is this
any
something
of our
you
tribal
do
lands.
you need to stay the night?
Yes, I would
Okay.
say stay the night because it's a little bit far of a drive from here, but it's just one of those things that people don't always think about or even not aware that it's there.
Yeah.
But it's something special and another canyon worth visiting in Arizona.
Okay, not just the Grand Canyon, right? We're getting some comments.
All right.
People say love the Grand Canyon, Sedona, Oak Creek Canyon. I agree with all of those. All right, Josh, what's the
They're
first one we're
famous
talking
for
about?
a reason.
Yeah, right.
All right. So the first picture that I wanted to share is we can start right here in beautiful Heber, Arizona, and that right there is my 5-year-old daughter on the left and her best friend / cousin
Hanging
on
out
the
in the
right,
snow.
and they are enjoying the snow.
I was already enjoying and appreciating Arizona's beauty. I mean,
look at that, and they're just having a great time there. I love Heber because fortunately my extended family has a cabin there, and so when it snows, Heber's about 6,000 feet, so they definitely get snow there. It's a nice, very tiny community. They have a cool museum there and a great lavender farm. Now this right here, this is my daughter, and we are enjoying the dark skies above.
Was that just
Heber.
taken with your cell phone?
So yeah, so I set this. There's a dark. No light setting on the phone, and so that's why I was able to get the stars above her head.
Cool.
And I was like, stargazing and dark sky tourism is such a big thing right now. And what I always share with people is, there are a lot of places like at our state parks where you can go to a star party and they'll have amateur astronomers who bring out their telescopes and they'll share it with you, and it doesn't cost anything extra other than you just being at the park when they do it.
How do you find those?
So those are on the state park's website. They have a listing for every park where you can go do this. But the cool thing is that you don't have to necessarily have a telescope to enjoy dark skies, right? As long as you get away from the light of the city, all you have to do is look up and you can see so many more stars. Like if you haven't been out of this area in a while, just go out and look up. And we were just hanging out there, and I was like, I can get a cool photo of this.
I love that.
We're getting more comments. Love Grand Canyon, Sedona, Oak Creek Canyon. Linda says, I heard Havasu Pie is cool too, which is on my list. Stephen Rocky Singleton says Grand Canyon. University. Oh, that's something else. I'm sorry. I thought he was talking about Grand Canyon. And then Troy S says always wanted to visit Tombstone.
Yeah,
Tombstone is awesome. I love Tombstone, and even though it is very well known for the movie, they have done a great job there of freezing in time Allen Street, right? And what it looked like in those territorial days.
That's cool.
Right. And to me, you can go there and be totally immersed in that experience. You can stay the night there. They have saloons, like everything you would want it to be. It is there. It is one of those things. Yeah. And they do reenactments of the shootout at the OK Corral. So fun. I say definitely Tombstone should be on your list for sure.
All right, Josh, the next one you said is Mortimer Farms. And this one's not bad because this is a day trip from the valley.
Yeah, it's not too far away. I was there last October, and what I love about this place is that it is literally like an agricultural Disneyland. I mean, what we're looking at right here is their 100% real pumpkin patch. Here, this is stuff for the kids, and this is only one part of it. Like, this is all included. You just go in there, and it's like a self-powered thing. You run
around.
Yeah, you run along and do it. But one of the most impressive things is they have a great pumpkin patch there where they grow their own pumpkins.
Wow.
Like
Look
that's
at
my
those.
wife and daughter.
Oh
Look how
my
big those
gosh.
pumpkins are.
Those are massive.
I mean, and they'll give you a wheelbarrow, by the way. So if you got to cut
No
that off the stem,
way.
yeah,
Oh, that's
they'll give you a
cool.
wheelbarrow to truck it back
you mentioned
around.
all that's included in the price. Budgets are very important right now.
Right.
If people have multiple children, they're going to be planning some stuff for the summer. Some of these spots you don't even have to pay.
Right.
Much,
so,
if anything.
So Mortimer Farms does have an entry fee,
but minimal.
And if you want to buy a pumpkin, you definitely have to pay for it.
Okay.
But a lot of the activities there, like they have like a hayride that you can do, or you can just walk around this. You can see in the background on that picture, there's a cornfield, right? So they have a corn maze there that you can do. And it's really cool because the corn maze doesn't have one entrance and exit. It has a bunch. So what we were doing
You're
is
never going to get lost.
we were letting my daughter pick the direction. We're like, you're 5, you're a big kid now. You pick the direction we go. And so she's going left, right, and she's leading us. And then all of a sudden we hear her go, "Oh my gosh, I found the pumpkin patch." And we were like, what? And she goes, "I found it. It's right there." And so we walk up, and I didn't realize that the the corn maze exits to the pumpkin patch. And so in her mind, she had led us to the prize of the pumpkin patch. And so we were like, "Yay, you found it. Great job."
Josh, real quick, where is Mortimer Farms? Like what city, or would you call that? It's like...
So Mortimer Farms is the Dewey-Humboldt area,
right.
which is about 30 minutes east of Prescott.
Okay.
So
and the Mortimers, by the way, some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, too. And they've got good food in that little market.
They have the little market right
farm
there.
fresh market.
I mean,
they
do it all there.
Yeah.
Isabella Fredrickson says Southern Arizona underrated. Tombstone, as you mentioned, Bisbee, Saguaro National Park, Sabino Canyon, so many spots. But we're talking about budget. Bisbee, it doesn't cost, gas money, yes.
Yeah.
But you can drive to Bisbee, you can drive to Globe, and you can go walk around and hang out and visit with some of the people. Maybe grab a reasonably priced lunch and come back.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend a lot of money.
Right, and that's one of the great things about day trips in Arizona and about literally where we live in the state is all of these places are generally 2, maybe 3 hours away, and so you can take a day trip there and spend a little bit of money while you're there, but you don't have to break
We've only
the
got
bank.
2 minutes left.
Dang it.
I know.
Can we get another hour?
Yeah, 1 more hour.
We have to get this question in because this is specific to you. Troy asks, visiting Phoenix in September, bringing 2 teen boys who love to fish. Any recommendations for fishing within about 90-minute drive?
Oh, absolutely. I would say Lake Pleasant is a great choice. Yeah. It's not even, depending on where you're going in Phoenix, it's barely 90 minutes. And Lake Pleasant has so much cool stuff there anyway. They actually have a boat that you can rent from the Lake Pleasant Marina that is a hot tub inside of a boat.
I saw that. Yes.
I recommend that for sure.
I pitched it as a story.
All right, let's try and get one more
flats.
of these. Oh, we only have 2.
I was going to say if we got.
Well, how do people find you?
Yeah. Maybe they might want to just email you.
What I will say is a great way to plan any trip is visitarizona.com, which is our website.